Hi there, and welcome to the AcQuum Consulting how-tos and power moves for Infor SunSystems and EPM. These are just a series of tips and tricks and how-tos to make your life a little bit easier within the Sun system. My name's Phil, and I'm a Sun consultant and have been for a while. One thing to get out of the way at the beginning is that all of these demos that I do are done on Sun 6.4, the web browser version, but all the concepts and the screens, although a different design, are available in Sun 4, Sun 5, Sun 6, on-premise, in cloud. It's all the same. So let's get on. Today's topic is journal presets. Not something that gets used a lot these days because so much is done with Q&A and journal import through Q&A, but the functionality is still there and it can be useful. Let me explain. We all know that we can have different journal types within Sun that do different things. Some might be like for bank reconciliation, some can be for fixed assets. And here's one that's for cash payments. Now, this is where we've made a payment directly to the supplier, to the creditor. So we don't want to include them in our payment run, but we do want to post the transactions to record that we have paid them. So for this particular payment type, we've created a journal preset with the same code. And if we go look in the journal presets, we will see for this particular preset code, line 1, it tells us it wants to select a payee account. So it's going to make a select a payee account. And the currency, it's going to be a debit because we're paying the supplier. Line 2 is simply going to be to the bank account, and we know what that is going to be, for whichever creditor it is, that's the bank account. So that line is going to be the credit. Pretty straightforward. So if we go into our ledger entry, we select that journal type, transaction reference, T for today's date, make things easier, the account code. Now it does tell us we want to select a payee. So we'll select one of our payees. So we're paying these guys. We can change the description. We're going to pay them $12. We go OK. Now, Sun has gone along and created the second line for us. That is the payment to the bank account. It's brought over the amount. So all we need to do now is post. So nice and easy. This is a simplified version. There are lots of different other types available. Just to give you an idea, created one a little bit earlier called purchase invoice. Now this one, because I didn't select the first line number, one. So this is telling me for my base amount, I need to enter a supplier account. Now I know in PK1, all of my suppliers start with 8 and my range of suppliers I'm working with start with 8.1. So I can actually pre-code the first 2 digits to remind me. And in this case, I want 100% and I want a credit. The second line is my GST, and I already know what my GST account is going to be, and I've set that to 10% of that, or 9.9999. You'll figure out the calculation. And of course, the third line is to my expense account, which I know is going to start with 2. And for that one, I've just selected the transaction balance. So Sun will automatically calculate the third line for me. So quickly, we'll zip back into ledger entry. This time, now I've linked this particular preset to my PI account type. And I put my reference code in. T for today's date. Now, see, it's already prompting me as to that my supplier starts with A1. I'll just pick the first one, and I can change this to whatever. Oops, it's reminding me that I've used that phrase before. It's the credit, so I just click OK. Now, it's going to create the second line, which is my GST code and my expense code, but it's telling me that those codes want analysis dimensions. Okay, so I should put those in. And because, sit back here into general presets, because over in analysis, I've put 2 dots in there. I know it's a bit faint. That tells Sun to copy over from the previous line. So when I go back to my entry here, all I need to do now, I've entered my account codes, so I just need to click that and enter my expense account. Okay, and you see it's gone and done the calculation for me. It's calculated the GST. It's going to post that to there, and I've picked my account. So all I need to do is go post. Makes life a little bit easier. You don't have to be entering 3 entries. You've just used the one line. Now, things can get even more complex. It's entirely up to you. And keep reminding you to close sessions as you're finished with them. We can have lots of different types of, and if I select one here, that was prepared earlier. This is my prepayment preset. And of course, need to pick line 1. So this basically picks up total prepayment, posts it to that code. Second line posts the expense. So month 1, which is the current period, posts. Ratios are based on the number of periods you have listed in Sun. We've got 12 periods, so ratio 1 is 1/12. So that will post to the expense account. It will post 1/12 in the current month. It will post 1/12 in the next +1. It will post +2, so on and so on and so forth. And then when it gets past here, it goes back to that it enters the other side of the transaction, and we'll go through and post all of those. So that's your prepayment. One last thing that I'll go back to that can be a nice little trick, and it can be used in things like with this cash payment or with cash receipts. There is an option here to turn on automatic online allocation. So if we click that and we go back into our ledger entry, because when we made this payment, we do need to go back and allocate it off in the supplier allocation, don't we? So here's another one. I will enter, and I haven't put the account. Oh, it's the account code. $200. So if I go OK now, that's going to go and bring me up my online allocation screen. Oh, don't ask me again. So this is going to pick, so this is the payment I've listed here. So I want to match this to an invoice that's sitting in the supplier's account. Now I'm dealing in multi-currencies, so I do need to have a currency match. So we'll just sort by the currency code and go down the end. Now here's one for 300. So I'm paying part of this, aren't I? So again, with my allocations, I can go in and split. And this tells me that I want to split. Amount to split is 200. So now, and it's already marked me to be allocated. It's done that for me, and that matches up there. So I just save by base. And that goes back to my journal, which has got my bank account details on it, the other side of the transaction. So now I can just post that. So that has posted the journal and posted the allocation markers to match things off. So quite a handy little tool there. Now, as I said before at the start, this is what I've shown you here is not the definitive how-to. There's lots of different options and lots of things you can do with these presets. If you want a bit more information, the best place to go look is in the help menu. There's a whole pile of lots of useful information here concerning how to do the journal presets. So have a read there first, have a look what it can do, and you'll see that you can pretty much automate some of your manual transactions that you do within Sun. That's about it for today. So I thank you for your time. I hope this has been useful, and I hope it's given you some insights and some of the things that SunSystems can do, and we'll talk again. Cheers.